CEO is made possible in part by Communities Foundation of Texas, committed to helping people with their charitable giving options. More information at deepintheheartofgiving.org. By Hodges Capital Management, providing an array of mutual funds including multi-cap, mid-cap, small-cap, blue-chip, and equity income. HodgesCapital.com. By Sewell Automotive Companies, dedicated to treating every customer like a lifelong customer at their 9 Dallas-Fort Worth locations. More at Sewell.com. Sewell, obsessed with service since 1911. And by the valued support of KERA members. Thank you.
Bridgefarmer and Associates helps keep people moving, designing and building highways, rail lines, and bridges. CEO Mansoor Ahsan is in the driver's seat. This is the LBJ Express?
That's correct.
The firm stands to benefit from proposed increases in federal funds for infrastructure projects. But Ahsan says if the government tightens work visa programs, the talent pool for all U.S. engineering companies will diminish.
In a competitive situation, it will change the entire dynamics of engineering businesses. And in the global market, we will lose our share of the market.
As the population in Texas continues to surge, Bridgefarmer focuses on design solutions aimed at easing mobility issues in the region and beyond. Mansoor, Bridgefarmer does transportation exclusively and enthusiastically, and your passion is bridges.
That's right.
And you've built a fantastic bridge in Irving, Texas. Tell me about that.
That's an interesting project, which is going to be a cable stay look-like bridge. It's more for aesthetically pleasing structure. Functionally, it's more of a typical TxDOT project. From a layman's standpoint, it will look like very, very pleasing structure with cables and truss-looking views when 114, which is under it. And by the time it's all said and done, it will be an exciting project, and we are thrilled to work on that project. And I think it would be a signature structure for the city of Irving and in the Metroplex as well.
So TxDOT, this is the Texas Department of Transportation,
Correct.
Has a guard variety bridge that it likes to build at a cost that it likes to spend. And so that's what has happened here, but you've dressed it up with 100-foot pylons and cables, and you have a canopy, I understand.
That's correct.
The canopy will protect the pedestrians and the motorists from the weather.
That's right, because there is a DART station right next to it, so the purpose of the bridge is to connect one side to another, and if you are taking the DART rail from, let's say, Irving Convention Center, you can just go upstairs, you can walk across, and you have shopping and what have you on both sides of the bridge. And it does give you choice of using train or highway or bike or what have you. So it's truly a multimodal connection point.
When you say multimodal, you mean that you've got a DART station right there. Is that the University of Dallas station?
Correct. That's correct.
This is the DART orange line. You've got that.
Right.
You have a highway.
That's right.
You've got hike and bike lanes.
That's correct.
And this is all on 4 levels.
That's
is that right? I mean,
that's right.
4 levels of activity.
That's right. That's right. So I think that's the future, Lee. If you think about it, you cannot have enough number of lanes on a freeway. Yes, you can put as many lanes as needed. Take the case of California, you can have 12, 10 lanes more, but that alone is not enough. You have to have trains, you have to have highways, you have to have bikes and alike. Combination of all of that solves our mobility problem.
Well, you also have a bridge going in on Skillman at 635. And you're having to build it from the top down so that you don't disrupt traffic there. How are you doing that?
Well, that project is in design phase. As you know, there is an expansion plan for 635 East, which will be going further east from 75 towards I-30. It's called 635 East, and Skillman is the next interchange after TI Boulevard. And when we were selected for that project, the reason we came up with this idea of building that bridge from top down is because LBJ roughly carries about 300 to 400,000 cars a day. So if you think about it, if you interrupt any number of lanes during construction, it's going to have a huge impact on the traffic. As is, the backups are pretty bad. So if you close few lanes just during construction or for construction, it will not be very popular with the travelers. So we came up with an idea of, well, why don't we build a bridge from top down without impacting the traffic underneath it? So essentially we came up with a single span without having any supports in the middle, and we have abutment which is away from the traveling lanes on one side to the other, and then we would build the steel girders from one side to another, then they could be placed and erected from Cullum and not impacting the traffic on
So it's going over the traffic below, is that right?
That's correct.
Well, Bridgefarmer has done a lot of railroad work, including in Panama.
This
was in the 1980s?
That's correct. So we were fortunate when we were selected to do the improvement to the first Panama Canal railroad work. It's going from Cullum to Balboa, and it was a pretty fascinating project. It was a turnkey project through Kansas City Southern, and our team was selected to do the design, construction, and then manage the construction of the project. So it was about 52 miles, and we learned a lot how to deal with the international market and the international flavor. We still look for opportunities. We are looking for opportunities in Nepal and its highways and alike. So we partner with international players all the time. You know, a good example of that is the LBJ corridor, which we are the lead designers for that project. It was $4 billion project. We worked very closely with the Spanish firm Sintra and has won several awards, and we're very proud of that, how it came out.
This is the LBJ Express?
That's correct. And these are the managed lanes as you are approaching towards the managed lanes. So our team came up with an idea of an open cut. It was supposed to be a tunnel right here at this location. This could have been a portal of a tunnel. However, our team came up with an idea, as you can see, that we have struts going across, and then we have blue skies, and then you can just keep on driving.
Oh, it's much better than a tunnel.
So you don't feel like you are inside a tunnel. And today, when you drive on LBJ corridor, it looks like this. You can see how congested the free lanes are, and if you are in the managed lanes, and where you pay the tolls, but you can drive at a minimum of 55 miles an hour. These tolls are what we call dynamic tolls, and they are adjustable tolls. So they're based upon the congestion on the free lanes. If the free lanes are congested, the toll rates are higher. A good way of telling that whether or not free lanes are moving fast, you can see the tolls and they are down. So this is a unique concept. It's common in Europe and in Asia and other places, but in US it's rather new.
And so this is all managed by toll tag?
This is all electronic, so you will never see a toll booth or what have you. Procuring the project was a long process. Getting the project, environmental clearances, and all the documentation and stuff, that was a long process. But once our team was awarded the contract, we completed the entire project less than 5 years.
Really?
Yes, and that's a record time
I would think so.
For this kind of a project, as busy of a corridor as it was. And I think the credit goes to the entire team. We were able to work together and pull resources, contractors, designers, the financial community, and so on. Everybody worked hand in hand to make this project very successful, and that's why it has been received numerous awards from national societies, international societies, the local chapters, and so on. And it has been a good success story of how a public and a private entity can come together and build a corridor.
Well, you have an office in Austin.
That's correct.
And you were saying congestion is terrible.
Absolutely.
Some of your people don't want to come to your offices. You have to make other arrangements for them.
That's correct. So Austin is an interesting town. I like Austin, but I think Austin has a different flavor towards, work. If you live in south side of Austin, you prefer to have an office on the south side of Austin. But if you have to go through the downtown traffic of I-35 and come to the north side of the town, it's hard. It's a hard commute, and I understand that. So our office is on the north side of town. So sometimes we have to make alternate arrangements where people can work from home, or people are. We have to give them access remotely to make sure that we can get the work done. But yes, mobility in Austin is tough.
Do you do that in your Dallas office too? You're over on LBJ.
Right. We are on the southwest corner of LBJ and 75. So we have that choice to our staff over here as well. There are people who live in Denton, or people who live close to Whitney area and so on, and it's hard for them to commute. So we do give them a choice to work remotely, and they can access our network and so on.
And you did the DFW.
Yeah, DFW connector. Yes, we are very proud of that project. It's a design-build project, and design-build is a good tool. It gives you an opportunity where designers, contractors, and operators and maintenance folks are all together. So everybody's looking from their perspective what works best for them, and you all go to work, and at the end of the day you build a corridor which is safe and gets done faster.
Ordinarily, TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, calls for bids, takes the low bid.
Correct.
But if it's design build, then it's 80% consideration for the bidder, low bidder, but 20% consideration for qualifications.
Correct. So it's a little bit of a different way of selecting a team. Design build is a combination of scores, and it's more about best value.
Well, engineers have to be obsessed with details. Is that person born, not made?
That's interesting. I think there is some truth to it, that they are born that way. I can speak for myself that I'm very detail oriented. So I could have been any kind of an engineer, but I'm a structural engineer, and the reason I am is because I'm very detail oriented. I look for results. I go into very, very intimate details of the bridges and make sure that why is this bolt not fitting, or why is this connection not working, and so on. And I look at it in my own family. You know, one of my daughters is just like that, and she look at things a little bit different than my other girls, so I can
well, now you have
that.
three daughters, one at Carnegie Mellon.
That's correct.
One at Hockaday, one at ESD. Which
Correct.
one is like you?
The youngest one, she is at Hockaday, so if you ask her, she will say she wants to be an engineer.
Very good, but the elder one is doing economics and finance.
That's correct, and so she is wired differently, and I asked her to be an engineer, so she didn't want to be. So.
And what about the middle?
The middle one, she is still trying to figure it out, what she wants to do.
I read in the Dallas Business Journal that there are about 20,000 people in Dallas, Fort Worth, Frisco, Richardson, Plano, and so on, working on B1H visas. And do I have that right, B1H?
Or H1Bs.
H1B, I knew I had the letters wrong, H1B visas, which allows them to be in the country temporarily to work. Do you have many working for you?
There are several in our firm who are H1B visas, and for us, we look for talent. We have always looked for talent. Throughout the 40-year history of the company, we have never worried about, I call it the boundaries. Engineers in general are problem solvers. So there are issues, you deal with them. But at the end of the day, you have to have a good talent pool, and the talent pool doesn't really matter, especially in a engineering world, whether they are in China or India or what have you. They are truly talented individuals, and they can provide a lot of good service to anywhere in the world. So that's why we attract talented people throughout the world.
And from where, mainly?
Well, we have several people from China. We have several people from India. We have people at Bridgefarmer. I think we are a very international firm. We have people, I think, all across the world.
And you have now close to 50 licensed engineers and close to 95 people, is that right?
That's correct. So we have offices, our headquarters is in Dallas. So we have office in Austin, and then we have a fairly good size office in Houston, and pretty large office in Little Rock, Arkansas, and looking at other places as well. But when I started, Bridgefarmer was a very local Dallas firm, and now we are a regional firm. We have a footprint all over.
And we hear about infrastructure projects perhaps coming in the United States. Do you expect those?
We are excited with the new administration. We are excited that if $1 trillion is what we heard during the last election cycle, if we get, meaning Texas and the neighboring states, we get our share of funds, it will be great for us. And as you know it, we know that in Dallas and in Houston or in Austin, we can use those funds. We have a congestion problem, and we are stuck in traffic every day in the mornings and in the evenings and in the rush hours. So indeed, those kind of funds will be welcomed by all Department of Transportation, and we truly look forward to it.
Looking at the visa situation, I think the administration has said that it wants to make it more efficient, the visas for people working in the country temporarily. Are you concerned about this?
There is some, but the talent, whether they are international or local, has to be available for businesses to thrive. And one of the key things for engineering businesses anywhere in the country, they hire somewhere 30 to 40% of the international folks who join their organization, and we are no different. If we don't have, let's say today, if we don't have all of those people available to us, that will indeed affect us, and that will affect not only just those students who came here and who wanted to make life here, and they're bright and they can add to our economy, but it's also difficult to find that talent locally. So in a competitive situation, it will change the entire dynamics of engineering businesses. Is it a concern for engineering companies? Absolutely. And how this whole thing plays out, I really don't know. But I hope that the solution is that we don't lose talent.
So what you're saying is, if the United States can't keep talented people and attract talented people, it will become less competitive.
Absolutely.
Your company will be less competitive.
Sure.
All engineering firms in the U.S. will be less competitive.
Sure. And in the global market, we will lose our share of the market. You know, since 9/11, the talent pool, which was available before 9/11 and after, has dropped. So then, if it further drops, which is a concern to everybody, because then you have people who could be any part of the world they are in, and they can truly help us in growing our economy, making us better than where we are at. And we compete in the international markets with Europe, China, India, what have you, and I believe we are far superior as engineers than our competition. But we have to have the right tools, and staff is what makes us sharper, makes us better, and we have to have that tool available to us.
What about engineering education in the U.S.? Are you satisfied with that?
So that's a question which is very dear to me. As you know, that I'm a visiting professor at the University of Texas at Arlington, and I go and teach whenever I'm invited and whenever I have time. But I will tell you this, that engineering program could be a little bit more rigorous, a little bit more tough. On structural engineering, there has always been a movement that a bachelor's degree alone is not sufficient. You have to have a master's degree to sit for your structural engineer's exam. And I will support that. That's a good thing to have. I think we could do better. I think especially when it's a curriculum, I can talk about civil engineering curriculum, that curriculum needed more rigor. It needs a little bit more of a depth, and it needs more of a driven approach towards civil engineering program, as opposed to having several other programs. In other countries, international students who come to United States and they apply for a position, they are head and shoulder above in engineering than our students. But where they lack is the creativity, the well-roundedness, the project management style and stuff. But the engineering part is very strong in them. And that's why you will see a lot of companies look towards the international people.
You grew up in Peoria, Illinois.
That's correct.
And your parents both died young when you were in high school.
That's correct.
What did you do then? Did you have siblings? How did you live? Where did you live?
I went to high school in a dorm, so I lived in a dorm, and that was a good experience for me, and that taught me discipline. It was a Catholic school. I did enjoy that, but then I went to Bradley University, and then I graduated from there, and I worked for Illinois DOT.
And you went to Illinois University
at
one point in between.
Yeah. Yes, I did some studies at University of Illinois, and then I did the leadership program through Dale Carnegie School of Management, and then also from leadership program from the Harvard Business School. But it has been a fascinating journey.
Yes. And how was the Illinois Department of Transportation? What did they have you doing? You were very young.
I was a bridge engineer. I was hired back when I graduated. Nobody was hiring, and they were the only one who were hiring. And they told me that we can't pay what you would be expecting, but what we have is a job opening. And if you want to take it, you're hired, but you would not be even making as much as their front desk person because she has been there for a longer time.